So our machine is on and we calibrated it, and we also chose our thread. So we're ready to set up our machine by winding a bobbin and threading the upper thread. So we're going to start with the bobbin. Your machine comes with an empty bobbin in the bobbin compartment, which is right down here. So we're going to go ahead and grab that. We'll open it by just switching that, pushing it to the right, taking the cover off, and taking out that empty bobbin. I have a bobbin fill thread that I'm going to use to put on my bobbin. If you don't know what that is, make sure you watch the episode on thread. We're going to take our bobbin and we're going to put it on our spool pin. So we'll take off our spool cap, came in your accessories, and then go ahead and put the thread on, and we'll put the spool cap on to hold it nice and securely on the spool pin. So I'm going to take my thread tail, and we are going to thread it through the thread path towards the bobbin. So we're going to start by going right under this metal piece like that, and then we're going to bring the thread across the top of it so that it's going right in between the white part and the metal part right there. Then you want to look over here for this screw unit right here. So we want to take the thread and bring it to the right of the prong, and then behind to the left and around the screw like that. And you want to make sure that the thread passes under the head of the screw. So you should feel a little bit of tension on the thread, and then that way you know that it's actually under the head of the screw. So then we'll take our thread, give it a little trim if you need to, and we'll take our bobbin, and you want to find one of the holes on one of the flat sides. It doesn't matter which side, there's no top or bottom. And we're going to take our thread and thread it up through one of those holes. You may need to trim your thread if it's a little bit fuzzy on the end. So once you thread it up from the inside of the spool to the outside, you're going to grab the tail and bring it over and put it down on the bobbin winding pin, which is this piece. To switch your machine into bobbin winding mode, we're going to pop that piece over. And you'll see on the screen that now there's a picture of the bobbin, and there's a speed control, so this is slow to fast, and there's a start and stop button. So we're going to hold onto the tail so it doesn't get twisted and push the start button, and it's going to start winding. After it winds for about 5 or so seconds, you can stop it and trim the tail really close to the plastic so that it doesn't get tangled anymore. And now we'll go ahead and push start. And I'll probably wind it about half full for the demo. Remember that you only want to use class 15 transparent bobbins with your Legacy. So you can fill it until it stops automatically, but I'm just going to stop it right now and undo what I did to get out of bobbin winding mode. So I'm going to pop that back over to the left, take the bobbin off, and we're going to cut the thread to separate it. It doesn't matter where you cut it, you just want to make it separate. So now we'll go down to the bobbin compartment and put our bobbin in. So you want to hold the bobbin so that you're making a letter P with the thread. So that means like this is the stem of the P, this is the top part. Holding it just like that, we're going to drop the bobbin into the bobbin compartment. You're going to look for the groove in the gray part right under the bobbin, and you're going to bring the thread in that groove and then just follow the arrows. So we'll bring it up and around and pull it down, and there's a little cutter in there that will just trim the thread to the right length. Now we can put our cover back on, and our bobbin is all set and ready to go. You don't have to draw up the bobbin thread or anything. Alrighty, so we wound our bobbin, so we're going to go ahead now and thread our upper thread. So I'm going to take off my bobbin thread, and I have a 40 weight rayon thread that I'm going to use for the upper thread. Before you thread the upper thread, you want to check two things. You want to make sure your needle is in the highest position, and you can turn your hand wheel towards you to double check that that's true. And you also want the presser foot to be up, in the up position. So I'm going to go ahead and put my thread back on the spool pin, same idea with my spool cap. And now I'm going to follow the upper thread path. So I'm going to go under the same metal piece right here, but now I'm going to follow this channel back and follow the arrows. So we're going to go around here, We're going to go down this first channel, and you're basically just following the path of all of the openings in the cover. We're going to go around and then back down again. The last stop before the needle is this thread guide, which is a little silver hook right here at the top of the needle. So I'm going to take my thread, hold it horizontally, and just slip it right behind that thread guide. It's open on the right side. And you want the thread to be behind the thread guide, just like that. I'll use my needle threader to thread the needle, so that means I'm going to push down on this prong and wrap the thread around this silver hook. Like this. I'm going to bring the thread in between those two prongs and then let go of the needle threader so that the thread gets pulled through like a loop, just like that. So then I'll pull the tail of the thread all the way through, making sure that the excess is nice and neat and doesn't get tangled as it goes through. So now my machine is all threaded. I have my bobbin in and my upper thread taken care of. So now it's time to get my fabric and stabilizer ready. So let's talk about stabilizers.